There was just not the type of club I wanted to be part of, I wanted to join. And so I decided to create one because I thought, well, if I want it, I'm sure other people do too.
Welcome to another episode of my podcast, Relentless Life on Your Terms, Season 6. I have a returning guest, a special friend of mine who was on episode 4, Season 1, almost 5 years ago to the date as we're filming this episode. Daniel, welcome to the show, mate.
Thanks for having me back.
Now, Daniel Hakim has an amazing story. He runs a fantastic company called CUB, Club of United Business, which started in... Where did you originally start the business?
We started in Sydney in Potts Point in 2015. The opening, it was actually October 21st, 2015 was the opening event in Potts Point in Sydney in like an old restaurant space that we took over, and now we've got 3 beautiful clubhouses in Sydney, Melbourne and Brisbane.
I remember when I first met you, and I came to your first annual awards and I couldn't be happier, more proud. I expected you to pull off something special, but to this level, it was so impressive. Your team done a great job. Even from walking in, taking photos, having face recognition, then getting an SMS of those professional photos to you, everything ran so smooth. Having 500 guests, 3-course dinner, to the most fancy trophies that look like...
How good were the trophies?
That was so unique.
Bottles.
That was so different. So I was twisting and seeing if something come, maybe I can get some glasses out or something. But they were very, I was saying they were very Hakim-esque. You did a great job. Super proud to be a part of it. And I remember talking to you 5 years ago. You had all these plans to open all these clubs. And here we are now sitting in Sydney. We've just opened a Brisbane club now. I spoke to one of your beautiful team members on the way and they said every club that we open just gets a little bit bigger, a little bit nicer. Now, I'm part of the Melbourne chapter of CUB, which was a great networking. You met a lot of great entrepreneurs, a lot of great initiatives like you did with Core, which tell us a bit about it. How did you start? I know you started the company, you were 23 years of age. You're almost 10 years in business and you've built such an impressive network and it's going from strength to strength. Tell us a bit about when you started, to your journey, and about some of your future plans.
So CUB started after I had moved back from Europe, and I looked to join a members club because members clubs are a popular concept, I guess, overseas. And when I looked up, I wanted to join a business club because I wanted to get into business. When I looked up the clubs that are out there just weren't any, or they were the old kind of men's only, old stuffier type clubs. There was just not the type of club I wanted to be part of, I wanted to join. And so I decided to create one because I thought, well, if I want it, I'm sure other people do too. And CUB's had a tremendous journey. We started in Sydney in Potts Point, an old restaurant space with 5 founding members. We now have over 2,000 CUB members and serve over 23,000 business owners, delivering them networking services nationally through our luxury clubhouses in the major cities, Sydney, Melbourne, Brisbane, with Parramatta launching on March 1st next year as well, and through our digital networking platform for business owners called BOA, which is a business owners app, which is a fantastic platform for all early stage entrepreneurs and business owners to connect and grow the network.
And I think one thing that I don't see it anymore in the clubhouse, but I like to talk about it. Your old logo was a triangle with a lion and a smaller lion. And I asked you about that. Tell me a bit about that. It was about passing.
Well, that was about... We actually changed that, but I regret doing it because it was a good icon. We changed it because people, at that point, our brand was perceived as too masculine. And as a modern club, the diversity within the community is important. And so we did a rebrand to ensure that the club and the brand reflected the diverse membership base that we have. So we actually don't have it anymore, but I do regret it. I might bring it back because the triangle is a shape of power.
It's the strongest shape.
And the and there were two lines within it. So a smaller line sitting within a bigger line. And the idea was growth into future power. So, and also the concept of having assistance and guidance. And these were the things that I wanted CUB to do for people. You know, I wanted business owners to come to CUB and to find greater success by leveraging the network and by being surrounded by the right people. Yeah, I should change that. I'm going to change that back. I just decided.
Obviously, Reventon used to be in a shield because you need to protect what you love and work hard to achieve. So when you build a business from the ground up like you did, it's so important what that symbolizes. So I loved what that symbolized, but I understand now you have a very diverse membership, and I see it across all your clubhouses. You've got not just a lot of men, but you've also got a lot of female members now too.
Obviously men, women, young members, older members, different industries. Like, it really is the club for entrepreneurs. Well, it's the club for accomplished entrepreneurs. CUB is a premium brand and a premium networking service, essentially. And so by nature, it attracts and is for business owners that are more established on the journey. That being said, as an organization, we do have incredible products or services, I should say, designed for businesses at early stage. So CUB also has an early stage business community, which is incredible for businesses with typically between 200 and 800,000 in revenue. And we also have BOA, our digital platform, which is completely free and honestly has some of the best networking events you could possibly ever attend, even if you paid. They're incredible. I tell everybody to get on BOA. Whether you just started your business or even thinking about starting, BOA is where they need to be. So we do serve the entire business market. CUB is our premium product.
And obviously, it's a very, very good way to introduce people to entrepreneur networks like yourself. It's like lead lecturing or telling them this is what CUB looks like in the future for those people who want to commit to it. Now, I remember once you invited me to an event to say thank you because I put so many members as part of the club. They go, hey, Chris, do you get paid for any of this? I go, no, I absolutely love the product. It's such a good product. I've met so many people. I've built friendship through the club. I've done business through people through the club, all organic. And when we do the core concept, I remember I was part of the pilot of the core, which was the first one where you meet knowledge, opportunity, and relationships, where you have those three meetings with a dinner to really get to know those members. And some of those entrepreneurs really help you problem solve and get through challenges. And you find entrepreneurs on all levels, big businesses, very big businesses, but they're also going through the same challenges that you are. And as a member, you're always listening to feedback. So everything that the members are telling you, I can see that actually happen through the clubhouses, through the things like the core and things like that. So now I will say, I remember 5 years ago when you came into my office and I heard, I think it was Mark Boris or someone at your event talk about how infectious you are, your energy. I think within 5-10 minutes of you walking into my St Kilda office, I said, I'll sign up with you, and I haven't regretted that decision. I can see that infection with all that positivity with how you grow those events. What was your idea to start your first annual awards night, which we only recently completed?
So the inaugural CUB Awards was last Friday. This is Monday, so it was Friday the 8th of November. I've wanted to do it since like 2015. Like, it was always on my mind, but I didn't have and our team didn't have the know-how to put on an event of that scale, and we had never done it before either. The concept, or what I wanted to create, was like the Academy Awards for business. That's the long-term vision, to create like the most, like a staple in the calendar of all entrepreneurs every year, that brings together some of the country's most accomplished entrepreneurs to celebrate their accomplishments and contributions to society with like a glamorous networking gala dinner and award ceremony. And so that's what I envision it becoming moving forwards. The first one, so originally I wanted to do the first awards for our 10th year anniversary, because CUB turns 10 next year.
Yeah.
But our national head of events, Kirsten, convinced me to do it this year. She said, let's practice. We'll do it this year.
Let's iron out all the kinks.
Yeah, exactly. And you know, she was right. She was right, because to be honest, they executed it flawlessly. That was one of the greatest events. I'm never proud, ever. But I was really proud during that event, because it was the first time people could actually see the power and scale of our club. Like it looked huge. The room was, there were 500 incredible business owners all packed into this stunning ballroom at the Sofitel Wentworth Hotel. And the culture, everyone, because everyone's part of the same club, so many people knew each other. There was so much love and networking, so much respect and celebration of each other. Like it was the first time where you could really visually see what we had built. Yeah. And members saw that and they kept coming up to me and telling me, and I could see it. I felt really proud. So, but we did learn a few things. Like there were many things, like now we know next year how we could take it to the next level. And which we will do, and we're already. I mean, when I work, I typically work a few years in advance. So I'm not planning on and thinking about what we're doing next year. I'm normally planning what we're doing like 2 to 3 years out, and that's where my focus and attention typically is. So we already have a pretty good like concept and plan for like the 2026 CUB Awards, even past next year. So and it's going to be glamorous. Like it's going to be crazy.
It's going to be hard to top off now. I've gone to so many of these events, and there's one that I would say I was equally as impressed, which was the REIV ones at the Crown.
Yep.
Had 750 people, but the CUB Awards that I went to, which had close to 500, was up there with REIV Awards that I went to, which was held at the Crown.
Yeah,
there was no other awards that I walked into and I thought, wow.
I'll have to look that up. I've never looked at them. To be honest, we don't want to get bigger. So like we could very easily put 1,000 members in a room, but I don't think that's what we want. I liked the size. I wanted to get more glamorous. I wanted to get more like, oh my God, I need to be at that event. I better get my ticket immediately. Out of curiosity, what is it that made what was it? The
REIV.
What made it good?
They've been doing it for so long.
But what was the aspects
at the Crown, every aspect. So it was very similar to your event. But you got to remember, REIV's been doing this, I don't know how many decades they've been having these events for. And
what is REIV?
Real Estate Institute of Victoria.
Oh, it's like a real estate event.
And this is massive, yeah?
Yeah.
And I can say, when I walked in and I said I was proud, you don't know how many of these events I've been to. And I thought to myself, you're kidding me. This is fantastic. And then when I went to take photos, you were the first one I've ever seen that face scans and then SMSs the photos to you on professional photos. Very, very clever. The food was great. Everything about it. And I thought, wow, like it was that impressive. And I've been to maybe 15 to 20 of them. And big ones. So anyway, I'm looking forward to next year.
Well, next year it's going to be even better. We're going to have more. Like we have all the things we want. Like I want to upgrade all the chairs. I like more beautiful chairs, more beautiful floral displays. The politicians are coming next year. A lot more notable entrepreneurs as well are already on the guest list. Big names. I like Australian icons. So we've got a good, and then some really amazing entertainment, and like next year will be all very sentimental because it's the 10th anniversary, so it's going to be so everything's going to be like sentimental. So we've already got some incredible plans. It's so much fun. I love it. It feels like our team, when your team does something new for the first time, it's like you're in a video game and you just got upgraded, like you got a new weapon or something like that. Now we have this new weapon. We know how to put on like awards, but we also know how to put on events at that scale. Because that was expensive. Like it's an expensive exercise.
I had no doubt when I walked. But look, 3-course dinner, you had great entertainment. But people don't understand. Even
what about that little dance party that just started in the middle of the event? That was so funny.
Yeah, I was actually at the back there dancing as well. I don't usually dance. Now my partner's in events, and she goes to me, Chris, even these flowers on each table, they're actually no expense has been spared. They're quite an impressive flower array. Now I wouldn't look at that. I'm not in events, but she goes, that's the level of detail and the expense. So even my partner, who's been running events for years, noticed even the flowers that you had on each table set. So you've gone from strength to strength. What's next for CUB? What's next for the members? And I will say this, I was speaking to a few members on the way in, and the words that they said, and they echo your sentiments, they were so proud to be a CUB member. And when you said it's the first time you've had a gathering of so many members in one place, sometimes you don't stop and see Wow, what we're building now, you're celebrating your 10th year. It's a big year for me as well next year because I'm celebrating my 20th year on the 21st of March.
Wow.
You're having your first child this year, which is, I'm so happy for you. Again, it's that I'll tell you is going to be challenging. I've got 4 kids, so I can speak. That's challenging, but it's the best time. So you've got a lot of exciting things happening.
Yeah, I can't wait to be dad. But no, what's next for CUB? Well, it's really just mostly expansion. Our product's incredible. Like our community and the base we have now is incredible. It's just about providing it to more of Australia's business owners. So we have we have Parramatta opening March 1st, 2025. We've also got a new flagship Sydney clubhouse opening in August, which is 4 times bigger than the current.
Is this going to stay here?
Yeah, well, yes, this is going to stay as well.
So this is going to stay plus another Sydney?
Yes. This will end up being for our team and staff and double as an event space when needed. But we've got a giant club coming. It's going to have private bars, private event spaces, a library for work. Like it's going to be crazy.
Next year, that obviously.
That's next year. Yeah, it's already locked in. And then we've got the next 2 clubs, are Perth and Gold Coast, which I'm very excited about. Our goal is to expand our BOA user base and our BOA platform. Our goal is to be the largest business networking organization in the country. Now, you could argue that we currently already are, but I want it to be completely undisputed. So, and to be the best at what we do. So our goal is to provide the best quality networking experience, so the best possible networking experience to every business at each stage of business. So if you are day 1 in business or very early in business and you don't have much money to spend on networking, we've got the absolute best free networking product for you, or the best low-cost networking product for you. If your business is growing, you've got 500,000 in revenue, well, we have the absolute best networking product for you within your price range that you can afford. As your business gets bigger and you cross the $2 million mark and you're going, well, we've got the best premium networking service for you. So we basically want to own networking for business owners by providing them the best experience possible.
In 3 different stages. So your early entrepreneurial journey, your under 7-figure sort of thing,
and then just
and you're over
million,
whatever.
And then start when you go into the millions. Yeah. And look, I'm sure eventually we'll open like a special tier higher, but
8 figures plus.
Yeah, I'm not really into it. People are into it though. I'm just not. So that'll be last. I'll do that at the end. That'll be when we've got all the clubs keep getting bigger. So the bigger the clubs get, the more
it's going to happen naturally anyway.
Yeah, it will.
And I know a lot of members that have those 8-figure turnovers because I talk to them. I'm friends with them.
But CUB does have, like for free, they don't have to pay extra for it. CUB does have, because it's such a big community, we need sub-communities. So one of the sub-communities within the club is the big business community, which is for businesses with over 10 million in revenue. So they already have it. They just don't have to pay for it. Now, if I get them to pay for it, we will do that.
So there's no label, but it's there.
But yeah, I didn't want to charge for it, to be honest. I just wanted the ability for members to connect with others that they have something in common with, whether that be golf, wine, your demographic.
Cigars, suits, you do all these different events. But you know what?
Size of your business.
When you look after people like that, I know that you have a very good client base, a very good member base. We actually help other members as well that come along the journey. So I get a lot of questions, what's it like? You meet great people. And I say this, and I'm happy to always say this in front of you too. I go, you're going to get what you put in. If you show up to the club, you're going to get some great results. I remember at one stage I never showed up for you because I had a lot going on, and you called me up and go, Chris, are you signing back up? I said, of course I'm signing up, because I met so many great people. It was a year I took a hiatus and I always wanted to come every week. Now I found that time that I can start being re-engaging, and I'm getting more benefit, but that goes with anything, doesn't it?
You have to, so you have to remember the most important thing any business owner can do to have success. There's 2 things actually. One is work ethic, and the second is have the right network. They're the 2 most fundamental things. You can't do it without either of them. I can't make someone work harder, so I can't give them the work ethic, but I can make sure they have the ability to build a strong network. And that's what CUB is. CUB is a networking experience that is premium, enjoyable, and effective. Now, you do have to get involved, because if you don't get involved, you're not going to build relationships. You don't build relationships, you don't build a network. So half of our job, we've created this incredible product, but half of our job, and in fact half of our team, the whole relationship side of our team, is designed to basically force members to get involved, because we know if we get them in there, that they'll meet people, and that the impact of those networks and relationships are going to help accelerate the success of their business. So half our job is, in fact, like, I say forcing on purpose, like we're getting them places, like we're making sure they're meeting the right people. And
you guys call SMS
everything. We email.
You've actually set up property stuff. You set construction stuff that I've been invited to. You've custom certain events for me to show up to, where I can add value and receive value.
Yeah, we measure your engagement. So we'll see, oh, Chris's engagement is dropping. Why is it dropping? Oh, he's away for 2 months. He's in Greece. Oh, okay, that's not a problem. But let's make sure on the third month of the quarter, when he gets back, we engage him 3 times to jack up his engagement levels so that we make sure he's getting value. So we're measuring. It's not just about it's not just about giving the opportunity to grow your network. It's also about ensuring you actually do it. So, and that's the harder part of our job, because business owners are busy, but CUB members and smart business owners understand that, networking is an essential element of business, and it's essential for different reasons for different people. Like, you might be going through, like right now, CUB doesn't necessarily need more money or more business. It loves it. It would love it, but it doesn't need it. So if I was joining a networking community, I'm not joining for the purpose of finding new clients. I might be personally joining for the purpose of meeting other business owners in a similar position to me, and making friends with people that I can discuss the particular business challenges that I have at this site. Yeah, but there's some business people who join networking to find more clients, which I go through those phases too. Everyone goes through stages, and in a world where no one trusts anything anymore, social media is completely flooded with ads and things like that.
Yeah.
And in a bad economy, the best way to find clients is networking. It is the number one way that you will guarantee find more clients from networking than plastering ads that people may or may not see across social media, that they may or may not believe that or do anything else. Networking will and the only problem with it, it's not for the lazy, because lazy people want it to be like instant. But networking is about relationship building, and relationships do take time. But if you've spent like 2-3 years, which is such a short period of time in your business's life cycle, if you just spend 3 years focusing on building out your networks and being involved in a community, it doesn't have to be CUB, but a community like CUB. Though. Yeah, but you get to the point where the community starts serving you. Like, people know you, they refer to you, they send clients to you. You're more sent in the center. And if a CUB member after 3 years left CUB, they would still have an amazing network.
But the thing is, and it's like they use the old adage of the bamboo tree. You're watering it every single day and it never grows, and it takes years. I think it's 3 to 4 years. But most people quit within that period because they think nothing's happening. But all the work's happening at the bottom where you can't see. And relationships do take time. And I think no matter how social media goes, no matter how quick and instant people want things, nothing will beat the old-fashioned relationship, because you can actually build trust. And sometimes they take time.
And you're right. Nothing beats the relationship, because the difference is relationship is a long-term investment. So it's like you build it slow, but you build it strong, and that's what business is about. It's about survival, right? It's about how long can my business last? Because the longer your business lasts, the more money it produces and the more value it creates for society.
The more equity, the more time, the brand equity you'll get.
Exactly. So relationship building is a long-term exercise. That means that in 5 years' time, you will personally be an incredibly resilient entrepreneur and person and business person, and your business will be 10 times stronger because of the work you've been doing in that time. it's short-sighted when people want instant results of things. And to be honest, those businesses just don't last ever.
But it's inexperience as well, though. So
That's a good point.
When you have a good mentor that can actually explain to you that things take time. Now, for me, I'm fortunate enough to be in business now for going on my 20th year almost. I'm seeing the impacts. I'm doing my 7th, 8th vintage now. My 3rd, 4th year, like you said, I started to build momentum. Now, for me, CUB is really, I never entered it to reap rewards. I entered it to honor to meet great people. But now through natural, I guess, timing, I'm meeting more people. I'm speaking to more people. I've set up, good relationships with people, friendships, yourself, a lot of other members.
And just your personal brand also has grown, because now everyone knows Chris Christofi, what Chris does, what he's about. And when they speak to other business people and reference people in the property industry, leaders in the property industry, they reference you. And so your name spreads, and, it's really a compounding effect.
And I have that. That's coming more and more. Obviously, I hear your name here and there. Now, I'd like to ask you, because you like myself do a lot of things. Now, you've filmed over 200 episodes of a great podcast.
Catching Up with CUB,
which is fantastic. I was fortunate enough to be, I think, number 61 on that podcast. I loved it. I want to ask you a few questions. Tell me some of the key things. You work with so many. You probably have access to more business owners than most people ever will in their life, and through working through CUB.
Without a doubt.
Give me some of the things that you've seen commonalities in some of the great entrepreneurs, and what have you found when you're doing your podcast? What are some of the questions you're asking and thinking, wow, or this is similar? Give me some of the takeaways that you've had.
Well, a key takeaway is that there's no one path to success. So I have very different viewpoints or mentalities or theories than a lot of the guests, but many of them have bigger businesses than mine, or are more successful, or or have just great businesses. So there's no one. Just because you see something one way doesn't mean it has to be that way. There's just unlimited paths to success. So, and I think that's comforting, because people, it's about finding the path that's right for you personally, and that's right for your business and its industry. The one thing that I see that is the poison, which you rarely see in CUB members ever, because they wouldn't be where they were if they had it, is the the complainer, where they have a lack of ownership.
The victim mentality.
Yeah, that's it, victim. It's like, when I couldn't do this because of this.
They blame everyone else.
Yes, that is never the CUB member. The CUB member is always the opposite to that. The CUB member is always like, there's always like, this happened to me, but it was great because it gave me the fuel to do this. Or they really own their life. And I think that's what business owners have in common: ownership.
They see that opportunity.
Yeah. And they're responsible for their own life. And they're responsible. Then after they do that for themselves, they start becoming responsible for other people's lives and for contributing value to society. So they have a lot of ownership. And to have ownership, you can't have blame. You have to blame yourself, actually. And so rather than a CUB member sitting there like, oh, I wasn't able to rise because of X, Y, and reason, they sit there and I used my point of difference as a positive because I was unique, and people were able to then recognize that I was unique.
I had that opportunity to grow. So I remember I was laughing because when we did our episode, I think it was during COVID, I called you and you go, why are you so happy? And all these things are happening to you. I go, because now you have to show up, now you have to grow. We actually covered this topic on our episode. And I think that's good. What else do you see? obviously, it's a champion mentality, not a victim.
And work ethic. It doesn't matter what you say. I see a lot of coaches on social media, I was successful, now I'm going to teach you how to be successful. I see a lot of those coaches saying it's about work-life balance. It's about, you don't have to work that hard. Don't make the mistake I made. It's that is never going to work. It just doesn't. I know so many, I can't tell you how many successful people I know. I'm literally surrounded by them all day. And I know successful people like myself that are young, and I know the billionaires that own industries in this country and others. And I can guarantee you, not one of them ever was like, you know what, I'm not gonna work that hard. I'm gonna make sure that I do, none of them. They all worked incredibly hard. Now, that even, and then I've heard the argument where it's like, well, what is success? Which is a good argument, because success in business is the business contributing to the owner what the owner set out for. So, for example, I've got a friend named Bethany. She's basically like, she's a family friend. She's like a sister. And she said to me, I wanted to start a midwifery business that gave me more income than, or at least the same, but more ideally than I'm getting as a midwife, but also gave me the freedom to spend time with my children, because she was pregnant with her first at the time. So that was her success, and she achieved that success. But to get even to that level, I guarantee you she had to work so hard. I guarantee you she was sitting up at night, working all night.
She was
I
hustling.
guarantee you, you just can't do it otherwise. Like, and people out there that think, like, a lot of people think, like, you know where there's balance? Balance comes over time. I have balance now if I want. The problem is I don't want it.
But most people don't.
I've earned, now I've put in 9 years of almost, like, at times hell, like serious times where you're not happy and you're stressed and like there's things going wrong, or like there's so much of that. I had to move cities and I didn't want to be away from my family, but I did anyway. Like, there's so much sacrifice that happens in that time. Now, if I decide I want to take a day off, or like, of course I can. Now, I also have financial freedom. Now, I'm not tied to the business because I don't actually function in the business.
No one sees that though. They just see the success and think, I want that. But they don't endure
They want
what
the freedom without the loss of the freedom. But you need to lose the freedom to get the freedom.
I had one of the best, I was at another awards night, funny enough, on the Gold Coast many years ago. This gentleman was a fantastic entrepreneur. Carl Brown, his name was. He won Trailblazer of the Year for Business Newsweek. Great entrepreneur. Ran a massive business, started 2,500. And he had a sign in his office and he goes, and a true entrepreneur is someone who leaves a 38 or 40 hour week to work 80 hours for themselves. That was the sign that he had. And he said to me, Chris, as you are now, I've never seen anyone build something great without putting in the time.
Work ethic is literally is like essential. You need the work ethic and you need to be surrounded by the right people. Those are the two things, because it doesn't matter what business you're doing or you start. Every business can find a path to success. So it doesn't matter what you start. CUB, what it started as and what it is now is completely different.
But I have to ask you, because I remember I was interviewing you 5 years ago. Your vision and your passion was the same.
But how I got there was
such a big
different.
idea. When you walked into my office, what you're seeing here and what I'm walking into, even the events night, I could hear it from your voice. I could hear it from your energy. You attracted that. You made that happen.
Yes, but the important part, the vision remained the same. I knew in my head what I wanted to create, but how I got there changed. And that's what I'm saying. Yeah, like, you could have a vision for yourself. That's amazing. But don't be stuck on the path to get there, because then you're stuck. Because if that is the wrong path, well, you're not going to get there. But if you're flexible and it's about finding a way to the vision, not about committing to a path, you will get there.
It's a destination, but you might take the scenic route.
You take different routes. Like, a tree might have fallen over on that road and you can't get the car through. So I'm going to have to, figure another way.
It's like what you said though, yeah? There's many ways to success. There's just different ways of achieving it. That's why having good mentors, I think, is important. And you go back to using the examples on the internet, and I say, if someone's made 80% of their money through coaching or plus, or doesn't live and breathe, or they say, I'd be dubious of that. So some of the mentors that I have been in the industry that I've been in for many, many years, that are very successful. They walk the path that I want to walk. They do it the way I want to do it. Same ethics, same integrity, same morals. They've built it very, very robustly. They're the people to listen to. People that I hear on the net, because I'm in property. I'm in property. Every second person on the internet's a property expert. Have you purchased property? What do you think about property? I want to know all these things before I'm going to consider your advice. Tell me a bit about you. Hey, do you invest? Who's the people you're getting advice from? But most people just listen to the expert online, but they don't trust that. They don't test or research that.
There's different, I think in terms of the mentor coach expert discussion, I've always said the best mentor is one you don't pay, because they don't need your money. They've already made it. And the second you have to pay for it, they're not a mentor anymore. then they're a coach.
I've got both.
And yeah, but it depends. If they're on your board and they're having a function within your business, paying for them is fair because they're contributing. They're a part of the structure of the business, and business needs to pay for things. But the second you pay for someone, they're a coach, and coaches depend. Like, you could be a coach that hasn't had success in business, but you're still a good coach because you've done a lot of study and you can motivate someone, you can do things. But I think the most important thing that you get from surrounding yourself with successful people, regardless of the industry, if they're successful, they have experienced extreme adversities on the path to success. And sometimes the best thing you can hear is like when something's horribly wrong and someone that's already successful says to you, trust me, that's not even a problem. In a year's time, you'll look back and you'll just laugh at it. You know, you'll find a way around that. Like, it normalizes the journey because the journey is chaotic. So when you're around other people that are on this chaotic journey, it just seems so normal that you're like, oh, okay, this isn't a problem. Like, this isn't fatal. I'm not doing something terribly wrong. I'm not an idiot. This, like it normalizes a non-normal, an abnormal experience.
But that's the key, I think. And
because business is not a normal experience.
Looking back to every challenge that I've faced through business, because I've gone through a lot of challenges, as most people have that have been in business for 19 years, personal and business, all of them were an opportunity. The bigger the challenge, it might take you 6 or 12 months to look back and go, that was the best thing that ever happened to me, because I was able to grow, I was able to pivot, I was able to analyze. Every challenge that I faced from every department, I thought, this is going to be the life-changing experience for me to become better, to show up. The bigger the challenge, it might take a bit longer to see, but you're going to look back and go, that was the pivotal moment. And I always say 2 things. You only need to do 2 things when the things are tough. Make sure you show up to work every day and just try and do a little bit better every single day. And you're going to speak to someone that's gone through that adversity, like you just said. They're always going to say it's going to be okay. Like I do have mentors that I don't pay, but also have business advisors that I pay because I believe in being around. I want to challenge my thoughts.
I mean, there's so much value in it. Like when I say things, it's just
the key thing. The key thing, though, before I pay anyone, I need to make sure 100% they've got a proven track record. They've walked the path that I want to walk. And the money's insignificant to them that I'm paying them. Even though it's expensive, I know I'm walking into an office and I go, I know this guy knows what he's talking about. He's got 100, 200, 300 employees, second generation business, been going around for forever, but he just wants to help me. One of my mentors that I pay quite a bit to, X what I give him goes to charity. He donates it. And I thought when I start doing that, I'm going to do the same.
Yes. And that's a good way to do it. That's a good way to do it.
Because he believes if you pay, you value.
Learn, like I learn things all the time from like earlier stage businesses. Like even my friend Beth that I referenced earlier, she has a small business that's super successful for her and her life. And I watch her and I've learned a lot about business just from her, from talking to her, from watching her, from seeing what she does with her business. Like you can learn from everyone. It's about being open-minded. It's just about surrounding yourself with the right people. If you're surrounded with other people who want ownership over their life and who are working hard towards different goals and different visions, but they're working hard towards them, you will help each other, you will normalize the journey, and your odds of succeeding are far greater than if you were surrounded by people who aren't on the same journey.
You see that where you put 2 minds together, it's not 2 times the power, it's 3 times the power. You put 3 minds together, it's not 3 minds, like 5 or 6. It keeps compounding. Ray Dalio talks a lot about in his book Principles. Get a lot of intelligent people in the room and you bounce ideas off them. Now, you don't weight each of their decisions as the same percentage because one might have more experience in the field. Their decision or their weight should carry more percentage. When you read books like that, and I think a very, very, very good way to educate yourself is to read books. It's a quick entry, $20, $30, you buy a book. I buy books, both hard copy and audio, and I get them read to me while I'm reading them because my ADHD keeps me focused. So I'll grab a book. I read one on the way here. Got the book in my ear on audio and I've got the hard book so I can actually consume that content much, much quicker. If there's a word I don't understand, which happens all the time with me, I pause it, I'll look it up in the dictionary and I'll try to use it in my head and I'll start again. I've been managed to use this strategy. I've done close to 60 books this year doing that and it's helped me immensely. So it's a good tip for anyone.
Reading, study, whether books or YouTube or whatever, but studying
one more takeaway from your podcast. So you said the first one was deflection, not reflection. So you're a champion.
Ownership, not being
ownership,
they
be
don't
accountable.
have victim mentality. The second one is work ethic.
Work ethic, so work hard. No one can do it for you. You got to roll up your sleeves. Give me one more takeaway.
I also mentioned the fact that they don't have one path to success. Like there's people very different to me that I speak to who are super successful, and I might be like, that would never work, and because I have very strong opinions on things. Doesn't mean they're right. It just means that they're my personal opinion. They're probably right for me, but they're not right for someone else. And I argue with them on the podcast happily. I obviously argue. Yeah, well, it's fun. People should check it out. It's one of the largest business podcasts in the country. Catching Up with CUB. It's very good. But yeah, there's no one path. There's no one path to success. Like some people accidentally get into business. Some people always knew they wanted to get in business. Some people came from business families. Some people were the first generation to start a business. And honestly, the one thing I can tell you is the ones that are the first generation to start the business have it much harder.
That was me.
They're the special ones. They're the ones who work the hardest by far, because they don't have the networks. They don't have the normalization of that lifestyle. There's so much they don't have. They have to commit so much more than someone like myself who had a lot of help.
Yes and no. Like when I started
yes.
the business, I was minus 348 grand with the debt. I had to move back into my parents' house, but I knew I was going to make this work, and I built what I did. But on the flip side, when you've seen a business owner, a lot of the kids aren't as motivated or inspired to start a business. Yes, you've got more advantages than I might have when I started. You still had to show up. You had less reason to do the work. I had no choice but to do the work.
There's pros and cons, but at the end of the day,
you can't control that.
At the end of the day, people don't like to downgrade. So if you have learned a life, any certain lifestyle, whatever your lifestyle is, if you've gotten used to that your whole life, naturally you're going to have to go into a profession that's going to deliver you
fight for
the
that
same lifestyle, because it's very hard for people to let go and go down. People either stay the same or go up. They don't like to go down. People hate loss. So by nature, for them to be consistent, they have to create some sort of income. Now, they may already have a lot of assets and family things and things like that, but odds are, if you're coming from a family of business, business. You don't know, like I don't know the corporate world. Yeah. I can't go get a corporate job. No one will hire me.
Did you ever work before you started?
Things and
did you ever 23 you started the business? You had a job?
No, I did. My first job was a pizza boy for Pizza Ola in Roseville. That was in year 12. And then when I got back from Europe, I was in debt collection for calling for arrears payments for a company. Then I did sales in furniture, and then I opened a restaurant, which failed very quickly, and I'll never do that again. And then I opened CUB. I was only 23, so I was still a baby. Like I didn't really have a career before CUB.
But you were still trying.
It's all I know how to do. If it failed, I'd be screwed.
Well, that won't happen with your energy and the thing behind
statistically, it won't. At 10 years, your odds of failure are so low and that's why I say business is a survival thing, because statistically, every year that goes past, your odds of succeeding go up dramatically. Hitting 5 years is a huge milestone. Like your odds of succeeding at 5 years is a giant jump from the first 3. And then when you hit 10, it's something like 5% of businesses fail after 10, which is nothing. So people should Google that and just cross-check what I just said. But yeah, I'm fairly certain I read that in the government.
It's a small percentage anyway, whatever the percentage is.
It's tiny. But my point is that means business is a game of survival. So if you play it safe and you focus on your networking and you grow strong, slow but strong, it can't be too slow, but fast enough to remain strong, in 10 years' time, you'll have something that you can be proud of that will deliver you and your family and your loved ones everything that you could possibly want, and something that, is fun for you. Because, we talked about how business owners have work ethic, but I actually think they do it because they're not working. I'm not working right now. I don't work when I come to work.
Yeah.
I like doing it.
That's why you're
what else would I
successful.
fucking do? You know, like I'd get addicted to alcohol probably. I haven't got enough to think about.
You know
I
what?
need to do something.
I say that I'm a retired person that loves doing 80 to 100 hours a week. I see my job as my hobby. So people go, what don't you do? I said, I do everything I want to do. What do you do in your spare time? I said, I work, but I enjoy that. I'm with my kids.
That's like me.
Or I'm working. I go, but
Saturday
I
morning.
wouldn't choose anything else. I go, I actually choose work. So we had,
Maybe
just
that's
as
the
an
difference.
example, I'm here today. Next 2 days, we're doing 10 podcasts in 2 days because I thought I'm up here because of the awards. I want to get some bandwidth out of this trip. So Monday, Tuesday, I've booked 10 podcast episodes. And I said to my team, I'm very lucky. I go to Nath, listen, I'll give you Wednesday off. Let's just do a packed Monday, Tuesday. I've got to go to the office Wednesday morning at 6 a.m. I've got a meeting at 7. I'm flying in Tuesday night, but would I change it? Absolutely not. I'm pumped. I enjoy it.
Yeah. And maybe that's the lesson. Like, you know, when you start a business, it consumes your entire life. It really does. But you're choosing it. You know, you like doing it. Like, I like working Sunday mornings.
I think it's an important point, and I share this. I say to myself, when times are super, super tough and I find it challenging, I always look in the mirror and say, you chose this.
It's kind of like, would you rather do, how long's a full time, how long do normal, how long is 9 to 5 a week?
38 hours.
So would you rather do 38 hours of something that you don't love, or 100 hours of something that you really enjoy doing? You know, it's kind of like the same. Now, people do love their jobs too, so I'm talking a bit of shit there. But there are a lot of people who don't love their job, and who might be thinking, you know, I want to start a business. Like, and to those people, I would highly recommend starting it. You're going to work at least 3 times more. I guarantee that. But it depends whether or not you consider it work.
Yeah, but yeah, it's not for everyone. There's entrepreneurs, there's intrapreneurs, people that work for good. They're good number twos or and you know what the main thing is? I think there's no not wrong or right. It's what works for you.
Yeah.
What can you be passionate about? Is it working 50, 60, 70, 100 hours a week? It's up to you. But when you make that decision, one thing's for certain, you need to commit to it.
In business and in life. Like, in business and in life, it's what works for you, because you need different people for different things. Like, imagine if I didn't have my team. I've got the best team in the country. Like, we have a serious team. If they didn't love what they do in being part of my team, I wouldn't have this company.
You do have a great team. You do have a great team.
You know, so it's also about, as a business owner, it's also about, you know, making people love what they do, like helping them find something that they do that they love, that they can commit to.
When I walked into, you can't do what you did the other night and not having an amazing team. When you hear them, and I will like to mention one thing, the videos that you guys created were absolutely classic. They were funny. They were engaging. Whoever did them, did you do them internally?
We've got a full content. Yeah, we've got a.
They were insanely good.
Yeah.
They were so funny and engaging. They weren't boring.
And it made it feel communal, no?
I think it was an entertainment element.
Yeah.
But the truth, every detail, from even when you got up to what brand the suit was, I saw the Tom Ford little badge, to how you went up.
But that wasn't planned.
Everything was just on point and amazing. Well, look, as we're a tradition in Relentless, we've got our quick fire questions. Mr. Hakim, are you ready?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. What's the best decision you've ever made?
Hiring who's now my wife, Alice. She doesn't work there anymore, but hiring her was a very important aspect of CUB.
And your life.
Oh, is that a life question or a CUB question?
But that one's kind of mixed.
Well, it's both. Yeah.
How do you handle failure or setbacks?
I view every down as the ability to find an equal up. So the worse down it is, the more up I can go.
What's one thing you wish you knew earlier on in your career?
How important team would be, and how the entire business's success depends on how good your team is, and how hard it would be. Actually, I wish I didn't know that, because if people knew that, they probably wouldn't start.
Once you're committed, you just keep going, I guess. Who is, and I know you've got a lot of people in your life, I personally know this, who's the most influential person in your life?
It's my parents. I can't choose one or the other.
Okay. Now, what's one thing you would never leave the house without?
Nothing, but you'll always see me carrying around a notebook and a pen.
Yeah. What's the first thing you think of when you wake up?
Work.
If you could solve one global issue, what would it be?
Health.
Well, you're into your fitness and your boxing. I always see you posting for that. You can throw a good punch, Mr. Hakim, too. I'll give you that. What's your go-to strategy for overcoming procrastination when you're feeling something's holding you back?
Just start. Starting is the most important thing. If you just do something, even if it's the wrong thing, then you realize, oh shit, that's wrong, and you then know which one's the right
Action
thing.
always fears procrastination, always. What's the most challenging part of your daily routine?
It depends on the day. But work is the most challenging part of my life.
Okay, what's your favorite motivational song? Is there one you listen to that gets you pumped up?
No.
I thought you probably don't hit me with an eye of the tiger or something.
No.
If you could describe yourself in one word, what would it be?
Ambitious.
Fun, ambitious, energetic. You got a lot of good words you can describe you with. What's one trend in your industry you're excited about?
I think that we are in an ugly industry and that networking primarily historically has been ugly and crappy. And what I like is that we've made networking beautiful and enjoyable and fun. And I'd love to see networking go from being a bad word, people are like, I don't like networking, to networking being a beautiful word where people are like, oh my God, yes, I get to go network.
Well, like CUB, you've got I shouldn't say a no dickhead policy, but that's the case. You don't pitch, you're not allowed to brag or promote. You say that at the start of every course. So you are attracting that entrepreneur that understands that, which is very, very good for us and all the members. What's one thing you always have on your desk?
I always have a notepad. Like I always have a really nice notebook and a pen. Like I could sit for hours scribbling, drawing, graphing plans for CUB for the next 5 years. So I always have a notepad and a pen. That's probably the thing I'd carry around all day.
When I was on your podcast, I remember you had a notepad and you were taking notes and asking questions, and that intrigued me because you're the first person I saw to do it.
I keep them too. So after every notepad's finished, I keep them so that way when I'm dead or when I'm 80 or whatever it may be,
someone can read them.
My kids can read all the notes I made throughout my entire business.
Yeah,
and because I write everything, I really put everything.
You're a journaler.
Yeah, and I journal a lot too. Yeah,
obviously,
I
like Meditations by Marcus Aurelius was his notebook. I don't know if you've ever read that book.
Yeah, well, I journal just what's happening, mostly to do with life and to do with work. But yeah.
Now,
I do a lot.
You mentioned work-life balance before. That entrepreneur came to me now. He goes, you never have work-life balance if you're an entrepreneur. You have work-life choices. And I took that away from them. I go, that is probably the best saying that I've ever heard when it comes to work-life balance. He goes,
I agree.
You choose for it to be unbalanced.
I agree.
Based on that,
balance at different times.
It's a perfect segue into my next question. How do you balance work and personal life?
Well, right now I'm not balancing them. Right now I want to work. Now I'm about to have my first child, so I'm sure there's going to be some balance I'm going to have to find there. But it's probably not work that I'm going to sacrifice. It's probably socializing that I'm going to sacrifice to spend that time with the child. So so I'm sure that will become a thing. But right now, I don't want to balance.
So I won't be seeing Daniel. So make sure to watch the podcast. What's one thing you're very grateful for today?
My family.
Easy. From a scale of 1 to 10, Daniel, how much have you enjoyed being on my podcast?
12.
Thank you very much. And thanks for sharing the office and putting me in your main seat for the day. Thank you very much. I appreciate it. If you like this content, make sure to subscribe and check out Daniel's podcast as well. Come down to CUB. Would love to have a chat with you. Thank you.
Thank you all. Thanks for having me.